Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday and Happy New Year. This is the very first Wonderful Wednesday of 2025 on the very first day of the year. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun this year. I did share a little sneak peek with a breakdown of what we'll be doing in 2025. I'll link to that above in the description. You'll see it. You can click on that. Today is our tag of the month tutorial, and we're making this absolutely adorable tag book with a shaker cover. This is using my Button Farm Club scalloped shaker tag die. It has two pieces. This does the insert that cuts the window, and you can also use it as foundational pieces, and this is the base. Of course, you can use whatever tags you have in your stash. You'll just have to alter the measurements and like that. So this is a pretty good size little tag book. It's got about a 2-inch spine. I used some nice weight chipboard. It was kind of a lightweight mailer that I got, and it rounded, and I love the way that looks. And here's the back cover with these beautiful papers, a little shaker window with cupcakes and sequins and buttons and this darling little mouse and some flowers and a ribbon closure. This is a really fun project to make. It makes a beautiful little gift. On the spine, I have a tassel and some little measuring spoon charms that I've had for years and years. I don't even know where they came from, and another little flower and a little bow. So inside, this is more of a lookbook. It could double as a recipe book for like a few of your favorite cookie recipes, but mainly it's a lookbook or a lap book. I find it's really fun to take something like this and just sit down and enjoy looking at the beautiful papers and the images. So right here on the inside cover, we've got a journal card and a cupcake. Over here, we've got a really sweet little flap page. The front of the flap has this pocket. I've used one of the journal cards to make a pocket. Just added gussets to the sides. Used a punch to cut out a thumb hole. Here's our sweet little mouse again. And this goes inside the pocket. We take off this clasp and open the pocket, and we've got one of these wonderful stadium style pop-up features. I love making these, and this one turned out especially cute with all this little mouse baker and all these baked goods. It's just a really fun surprise when you flip that flap down to find all those goodies waiting there. Get this clasp back on there to hold that in place. Turn the page. Here's a simple pocket page with a few of the recipe cards that come that you can purchase for the collection. Currently, they're sold out, and I can see why, because they're absolutely adorable. Then over here, we have a little flip-flap page. Here's another tuck spot with a couple of mason jars on a jump ring tucked behind these adorable cake baking mice. And then I'm going to show you how to make a lateral kinetic waterfall, which is super fun. It's just a neat little surprise to find inside, so I like that feature a lot. We're going to turn this page, and we've got a really cute flip up with a little mouse in the pantry, and then a belly band with another card and more recipe cards. I think I put 3 recipe cards into each pocket. So like I said, you can use it as a little recipe book, but it's mostly just a lookbook. Over here we have another pocket. This has another 3x4 journal card and some more recipe cards tucked back in. When you take these out, you've got this beautiful sort of silhouette of a crock with wooden spoons in it. It's really pretty. And that brings us to the last page. This is not a huge book. Mice are little, so we made a little book. And this is another flip down page with another dimensional pop-up. I like this one even better than the one on the front. It is so stinking cute. And I love all these elements clustered up here. And you will learn how to make the mechanisms, and then you can use whatever ephemera or images you like to customize yours. And then here's another simple pocket with another journal card and some more recipe cards. Just sweet and simple. It's a lovely little book. This is a quick look at the paper collection. I did a full preview, and again, you can see that, but just so you can see, this is the most darling paper collection I've seen in a long, long time. All these sweet little mice in their kitchens. Beautiful, beautiful florals. Look at these guys. So charming. And I love the color palette. It's just super perfectly vintage. I did use a fair bit of the 12 by 12 to cut my tags. So I do have the 6 by 6 that I use for a lot of the fussy cuts, but you can see how you could come in here and just trim that out and use it as a focal image on a card. It's a beautiful collection. I also had the tags, which look like mason jars or cupcakes, and the die cut ephemera, as well as a bunch of fussy cut pieces from inside the cover of the 6 by 6 and the 12 by 12. So if you would like to see how to create this adorable little tag book, stick around because the tutorial is coming up next. All right, friends, I want to go ahead and get started putting this little tag book together. I love making tag books. So you want to take my Kathy by Design shaker tag die, and you want to cut out of lightweight chipboard. This is actually, you know, those white kind of chipboard mailers that you sometimes get. They're not corrugated. They're just like a lightweight chipboard. I cut out 4 of those and glued them together back to back. The die cuts very well through 1 layer, but 2 layers is a bit much. So that's why I cut out 4 and then glued them together using this die. Then from that same mailer, you know, they're white on the outside and they're chipboard on the inside. I cut out this little piece that is 2 3/4 by, I'm sorry, 3 3/8. And I scored 3/8 inch flaps on either side. And we're going to open our tag book. This is going to be our spine. And we're going to take off this score tape. And we're going to center this up with the top of the tag. And we're just going to flip this over. And you see how it misses the hole? That's what you want to do. All right, so see, now we've got our book base. Pretty simple and pretty cool. There's our spine. Of course, we're going to cover this, and it's going to look really neat. Open this up, and this is heavy kraft cardstock. And I've cut this. It's almost 5 inches. And I scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 half-inch score lines. And then to form your tabs, you're going to lay this down, skip this first one, pinch this together, skip this one, pinch this together, skip this one, and pinch this together. So when you get done, you're going to have these tabs with half-inch spaces in between them. Flip it over and put score tape on the second, the 5th, and the 7th. So when you get done, you look like this. That's pretty simple, right? Then you're going to take your score tape and completely cover this back side of your spine. So now you look like this, and go ahead and remove your score tape. And remember, with score tape, you always want to burnish it down really well so that it will hold. Open up your book, and in this 2-inch section, I want to center this. Oh well, too late to center. I'm mostly centered. Straight is important. And we're just going to press this down in. And you want to make your tabs move either way, because these are going to be, this is how your pages turn. So if you've got a little resistance, just go in there and really dig into it. All right, so these turn easily. These are your pages. And so now your book looks like this. You may have to recrease right here so that it turns the way it should. Yeah. So now we're good. All right, there's our book. There's our spine. Now you're going to cut 6 tags out of, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this same lightweight chipboard since I've already cut the thing apart. We're going to cover it all with designer paper anyway. And so go ahead, cut your 6 tags. And you also want to cut 4 liners for the front, the back. And then for your spine, you're going to need a contrasting piece that is 3 3/8 inches by probably, we'll say, this is 2, let's say 4, just to be safe, because that way we have an inch to wrap around. And we're going to cover up these holes. We're not going to use those. Our book is going to open this way, so we don't really need the holes. All right, so 4 covers, 6 tags, and then covers for the 6 tags as well. All right, friends, I just want to show you, I've put my front and back cover off. These are cut from the 12 by 12. This one on the back, the paper was, the width was not enough, so I just tore a scrap of this pretty blue tile. I like the way this looks on the back cover. So now we need, and before I glued these down, I added ribbon underneath with score tape so that we have a tie closure. So now I want to address the spine, and I went into the 6 by 6 pad and cut this almost 3.5 by 3.25 inch piece of this green stripe, and then I scored 5/8 of an inch on each side, and this is going to give us the width that we need to cover our spine. And we're just going to fit this over our spine and center it up and press it down. Pretty simple, but that just adds another layer of strength to that spine. And there we go. That looks good. And then I've cut my inside pages. And when you're cutting them, I went ahead and die cut my pages. But when you're die cutting, just pay attention. Like I told myself, the scallop is on the left or the header is on the right, so that when I lined up my papers, I had them going in the right direction. I'm just going to do the inside front cover right now and the inside back cover. And you can see I turned my paper whatever direction it needed to go in order to fit. So let me do that and we'll be right back. All right, I'm ready to go ahead and start working on this first tab. So here's our base, and then here's the cover that we die cut from our patterned paper. And then I also cut a 6 by 4.5 inch piece from the 6 by 6 pad, scored a 1/2 inch flap on the bottom and glued it like this. We're going to make one of our little pull down pop-up features. So it's easier to do this before you connect this into the book. So that's what we're going to do. And I did use a corner chomper to shape the top corners of our flap so that it matches the corners of the tag. All right, so here's our little pull down flap. And our first pop-up is I believe this is 5 3/4 by 4. Yep, 5 3/4 by 4. And we've scored at 1, 2, and 3. Then you fold these pieces in so it looks like we've done this before. So if you already know how to do these, skip ahead, but you fold it so it looks like a gatefold. Put your adhesive on these flaps. Then go ahead and fold it in half. And you want the open edge of your flap. I'm going to pull off my score tape here. So here's your open edge. The fold is on the bottom. And we're going to center this up inside our flap just as close to the fold as we can possibly get. And we're going to press that into place. Then we're going to remove our other score tape. Then we're going to fold. Okay, we're going to fold our flap up. I'm going to press that into place. And when we open it, we've got this great little pop-up feature. So now go into your fussy cuts. And this is from, I think, the 12 by 12. I'm sorry, guys, these little mice, they just get me. They're so stinking cute. And I'm going to glue this down. I don't know, can you see? Like this part is right at the bottom and this part is up a little bit. So I'm just going to put my adhesive on about the bottom inch of my fussy cut image. And I did go ahead and fussy cut all those images at the same time. And then I'm going to close this and open it, and look how cute. And then just to fill in the gaps, I've got this little flower because I don't want to cover up our cute picture of whipped cream back there. So I'm going to glue this little flower down. And you can use whichever ones you like. You know, you have to kind of play with this a little bit. But the important thing is that you close every time to make sure that you clear. Then I've got this little succulent right here. And I'm just going to put adhesive again along the bottom edge. And then I've got these adorable cinnamon rolls that I'm going to make it look like he's holding in his hand. And then just close this. All right, so that's number 1. And I'll go ahead. I'm going to come down like this. I'm going to trim along his little cap. I'm going to come like this. And trim this top shelf off. And then re-ink these edges, and this way he fits. See? So sometimes it's hard to tell until you actually put the pop-up in if it's going to fit or not. So there's our second piece is 3.5 by 3, and I've scored it 3/4, 1.5, and 2 1/4. Then we're going to do our same thing. We're going to put this down, and I want to come in. I'm going to lay this flat. I want to come in right about here. Okay. Then take my top piece off, fold this, and there's our second pop-up. Now for this one, I cut little 3/4 inch, 3.5 by 3/4 inch pieces from my scraps to kind of dress up that pop-up. You can't really see the base of the first one, but this one is a little more noticeable. So I want to just dress it up a little bit. And these are just cut from scraps. Okay, that looks so I went into my ephemera. I trimmed just the bottom edge off of this cute mixer. And we're going to put our adhesive again along the bottom edge. And this is going to go over here on the left. Okay. We're going to slip behind that this mason jar from the ephemera pack. It's going to go just like this at an angle. And then I found this adorable oven mitt that we're going to slip in kind of like that. So I'm just going to put the adhesive along the thumb. Okay, close that up. And there's our second layer. Isn't this so cute? For this last layer, I want it to bump out here. So I've cut 2 1.5 by 3 inch pieces and scored it 3/4, 1.5, 2 1/4. And I've added my score tape. I'm just going to show you. Some things are easier shown than told. So I'm going to peel my score tape off the back. I'm going to put this right here. And I'm kind of centering it up between this one and this one. And I'm going to fold. Okay. I've cut a little piece to go on the top. One and a half by 3/4, but I'm not going to put one on the bottom because what we're going to do on the bottom is we're going to take this second piece and we're going to do the same thing that we just did, where we line this up even with this one. And what this does is it allows this pop out to jut out into the front. See, like that. And what we'll put here is this piece on the top. And this piece on the bottom, just to cover up any blank area. All right, and now what we're going to put I should have done this beforehand. I want to stick this little mason jar in right there. And I think we're okay. And I've got this little wee mousey. These are going to go kind of in between. That's his sous chef, we'll say. All right, let's close this and make sure. Yep. So I finished this off with this little plate of cupcakes from the ephemera, and then I added these 2 ephemera bits here. So that is our first page, and I'm just going to show you how to attach this. I'm going to put score tape on the flap then we have our die cut tag that we're going to line up with that tab. And give yourself about a 1/16 of an inch clear of the fold, and you'll find that your pages turn better. So when we attach the companion page over here, we're actually going to put our adhesive. We're going to put adhesive on the tab like we did, but we're also going to put adhesive here so that it holds together. And then this becomes a really sturdy turn page. All right, friends, let's go ahead and install this next page, and we're going to line this up. I have my score tape on my tab and on the back side of the first page, and you see how this just goes into place and it reads like one solid page. So that's a really cool thing. This is just a super simple page. I lined it. I fussy cut out a little border from the 6x6. I trimmed out a scrap of our green stripe over here, and then I cut a 7 by 2.5 inch piece of cardstock and scored 1/2 inch on the sides, 1/2 inch on the bottom, lined it with some scraps of my paper and a little ephemera piece, and we're going to put 3 recipe cards in here. Super simple. So these will just pop down in there, just like that, and that finishes that page. I want to do a little flap page next, but I need to cover up this scallop. You'll see why. My paper was a little short, and also this is going to make it easier to do that flap page. So I just took a scrap and I cut just the scallop edge off of my tag to make our border so that it looks finished. I'm just going to line that up, make sure everything is the way it should be. And then I cut my tag, and you can see it was just a little bit short. I didn't have the scallop on the end. And then I took another scrap and I cut just the scallop end, and I scored a 1/2 inch flap on the side. These were just, I'm just working with my scraps of my beautiful paper so that I don't waste any. So I'm going to wrap that 1/2 inch flap just like that. Then this whole piece will glue down. See how cute that is? Create a little lateral kinetic waterfall. So I cut 2 pieces of kraft cardstock. One of them is 4 3/4 by 4, and the other is 4 1/2 by 4. And on the 4 3/4 by 4, you're going to score a 1/2 inch flap and attach it around the left-hand side. Then on the inside for this, we're going to create just a little decorative piece. This is from the 6x6. This is 4 by 3 7/8. And we're going to go ahead and glue that down. Just like that. And then from your fussy cuts, find this succulent and adhere half of it right here on the edge. This is our pull tab. All right. On this 4 3/4, you're going to score a 1/2 inch, an inch, an 1.5 inches, and 2 inches. So you're going to end up with 3 panels here. I have an 1.25 inches by 5 1/4, and I scored 5/8 inch tabs on either side. These are going to come about 1/4 inch from the edge, and we're just going to put some adhesive down. And you don't want these to be overly tight. You want them to have a little bit of wiggle room because this is the mechanism that allows your waterfall to slide. So those are going to go there. And then on top of that, just to dress it up, I cut a little, this is one of the journal cards, and I cut this to 2.5 by just about 3 7/8. And you can choose whichever side you want up. I think I do want the cupcakes. I was going to go with the all over print, but this is so cute. I'm going to put that down, and you're going to glue this over the top to hide the mechanism tabs. Just like this. So you can see now when you pull on this tab, there we go. When we pull on this tab, our scored lines will fold. And I brought in 3 of my journal cards, and we're going to adhere these just below the folds. Put this one right here. And I'll clean up this extra adhesive. These take a minute to set. You can use 1/8" score tape also, which might not be a bad idea. Our little mouse in the middle. And then right here. Just like that. All right, I'm just going to let that set for a minute while I show you the rest of the page. Bring in our little book. This is our little flap page, and this is going to go right in here, just like this. So our flap page goes over it, and you only put adhesive on the back side of this band. Don't get adhesive anywhere else, or your mechanism will not work and you will be sad. Okay? So this is going to go, I hate to cover up our little mousey, but here we go. So see, now when we pull on this tab, these pages will flip like that. And it's a really cute little kinetic waterfall. Now, if you have sticky, like I have here, come in with your anti-static pouch and just lay some of that down, and then you won't have that problem. But look how cute that is. Isn't that darling? A little lateral kinetic waterfall. And then I put these little mice down, just adhesive on the tips of their tails, the ends of the apron strings, and along the bottom here. And I took 2 of these little mason jar tags, hooked them together with a jump ring, added a little twine and a flower, and these are going to stick back in here. Super sweet page. All right, friends, you can see on this next page, again, I have a short piece, and I took another scrap and cut the scallop. Then I have this adorable scrap from the 6x6, and I glued this little fussy cut piece over it. I have 1/8" score tape on the top and on the bottom. And we're going to line this up right here, nice and straight. And then I have a recipe card that we're going to slip in there, and a journal card. So sweet. And that's that page. So again, when you glue this in, you're going to put your adhesive on the tab and also along the back, and that finishes that page up. right, friends, let's move on to this next page. And you can see I cut another short piece here. I used another scrap of this green stripe to just cut this little header piece. And then I've got this other scrap that I used to cut the scallop. So it all comes together. I took a couple of scraps of my paper, 1 inch wide, and I think this is about 3 inches tall, but I could be wrong. Let me double check for you. Yep, 3 inches. Folded it in half, and these are our gussets. And then I have a little piece of 1/8 inch score tape down here on the scallop. We're going to place our adhesive on our gussets. I always like to line up the scallops first. It just seems to work better for me. So there's that. And to decorate this, I took this beautiful piece of the ephemera. And this is just going to go right here on our pocket. And then I've got a couple of recipe cards to slip into the pocket. Just like that. And then this journal card. So that's a really sweet little page. And then you're just going to glue this header onto your tab, just like we've been doing. Oops. All right. All right, friends, I've done a little work on the cover. I've got one of these fussy cut cupcake trays here, and I wrapped our same bay ribbon around the spine and added this little teaspoon charms that I've had for forever. Just tied a simple bow, and we're going to put a flower on top of that. On the inside the front cover, I put this mason jar down just as a tuck spot and added this little ephemera piece, this 3x4, and a little cupcake tag. Over here on this page, I turned this into a little pocket with our little mouse. This is our flip down page that we made together. Let me see. Did all of that. Here's a second flip down page, and this is the last page in the book. And this is made exactly the same way as the other one, with the 5 3/4 by 4 scored at 1, 2, and 3. And then the 3/4 by 3 scored at 3/4, 1 1/2, and 2 1/4. And then I did a couple of little tiny ones toward the front for this, this spoon and this little rolling pin. So cute. And then I took these little Tim Holtz clips to hold the flap in place. I have these bright lights in my eyes, so I have a hard time. There we go. All right. And over here, I just made another pocket, put a couple recipe cards and a journal card in there. So let's tie this closed, and let's finish this guy off. All right, let me scoot this over just a little bit so that we're a little more centered. I've got my beads all in the center of my cover. I've taken the backing off of my foam tape, and I'm just going to press this down into place like this. I always like to make sure that I don't have any leaks. You can always go in with glue and seal up anything that needs sealed up, but this looks really good. So now I just want to add a little bit of flowers. A little bit of greenery right here. A couple of little rosebuds right here. These are older little birdie flowers that I've had in my stash for quite some time. But I'm sure you can find something that will work just as well in your paper pretties. I'm just going to put a little bit. I don't want this to be like super floral. I just want a little accent. And then I've got this pretty piece I'm going to put in the corner. And I like how this sort of cocoa colored flower works with the colors in this paper collection. I think it's really pretty. And I think I'll add one more rosebud down here like this. Okay. Isn't this cute? All right. Then I have this adorable cake button and a super cute cupcake that I'm going to tuck in. These were sent to me by my buddy Brenda. Get that in there. That looks really cute. That adds a little pop of color. Here's our spine all finished up with our measuring spoons and our little tassel. That looks really cute. And I think that's all I want to do. I was going to see if I could find one more rolling pin to kind of go up here to say homemade. I think that'll finish it off perfectly. But that is it, our Wonderful Wednesday tag of the month, which became a book, which is so cool. I hope you enjoyed learning how to turn a tag into a book. I hope you'll give this project a try, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll be back next week with our banner of the month, and we'll be using this same home baker collection from Prima. You'll be able to find a linked supply list on my blog and the link to my blog in the description box below this video. All right, friends, that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Thanks for joining me, and go get your craft on. Bye.